I'm falling in love with the man I was forced into marrying, and I don't know how to tell him. My husband and I's marriage was arranged when I was 16. He was 23 when they forced us together. I don't want to get into the ethics of this because I know it's bad, and even though it's their culture, their views are cruel and incredibly sexist. Luckily for me, my husband was a good man and compared to most of my friends, my marriage was peaceful. He never hit me or treated me like a slave, and I'm so grateful to be married to him instead of anyone else. Our first year was incredibly painful because both of our parents demanded grandchildren and neither of us were strong enough to resist them. At 17, after a few failed attempts, I was pregnant with twins. My husband promised me that after we received the positive results, he would never touch me again. This was something most men wouldn't have done. It was so painful for me. I cried every time we did it. I don't blame him for the bad experience, since it was the first time for both of us. Nevertheless, that week made me never want to do it ever again. After my sons were born in a thankfully easy birth, we stayed in our country until I was 18. He then got a job in Canada, something we've been looking for since marriage. He's a doctor, and a really good one at that. We left our family and moved here. We were finally free. Neither of us wanted to go back. He offered me a divorce if I wanted, so I could have a new life. I thought about it, but since I didn't have an education, I couldn't work. I also figured his two sons would want a father in their life, so even though I didn't love him, I stayed and told him as much. We became more like friends. Our marriage only existed on paper, but he was never bad to me. He gave me money to spend and would buy me things, and I would cook him his favorite food and keep the house nice for him, and do all the chores. Our children never knew that their parents didn't love each other because we were always nice to each other. When we got here, I asked him if I could get an education. And he enrolled me in a local university to study business. I'm almost done now, so I finally start working and do something with my life other than sit in my house all day going crazy. After a few months here, he sat me down and told me that he had urges that only a woman could fill, but he didn't want to hurt me and wouldn't force me to do anything. He asked for my permission to be with other women, and I said yes. As long as he hid it from other people and our kids, I didn't care what he did. He would go out every Friday and come back happy, and I was just happy that he was satisfied. I didn't love him, but I cared for him like I would a friend. When lockdown started in mid-2020, I got very sick early. He pulled a lot of strings so I could get the best care in the hospital he worked at. I was useless for almost a month and a half, and he was amazing. He looked after my needs, kept my sons happy, and worked at the same time. What really sparked my love was how he treated me when I was in immense pain. I was at home then, but I still couldn't really do anything without getting out of breath. It was nighttime and he was helping me get into bed, but I was struggling for some reason and my entire body felt like it was on fire. I was trying really hard not to cry and he noticed. He carried me to our room, sat down on the bed and laid my head on his lap. He started to stroke my hair while singing to me until I fell asleep.